Recording in progress.
I know, you should have saw me when I connected the owl and hooted at me.
911.
How you been doing, Mr. Harris?
I'm doing great, sir. How about yourself?
Good.
Okay, you got a cold. Other than that.
Start this meeting.
So I went to, blood pressure machine, brand new, so I just went to check it on him. It said 88 over 60.
Yeah, she told me all about it. Yeah, he was on the way out.
Yeah, no, this just a few minutes ago.
Oh, just a few minutes ago?
Yeah. I said, let me call and checked it again and, 116.
Okay,
Well, they told me, nurse practitioner said, give him high blood pressure medicine anyway. Before you check, don't worry checking. Yeah, that's.
I'm sorry? Awesome. Oh, thanks, sir.
I think,
okay, ladies and gentlemen, it's 5:30 and we need
Do
to
we want to
call.
wait for Sandy just 1 minute?
We're gonna postpone calling the meeting to order until our general manager comes back.
Yeah, I think we need.
How you doing?
Good. I'm assuming since this is iffy that I get to sit here.
Oh, no, I hate it when it happens. Oh, there he is. Okay, now, we're gonna call our meeting to order at 5:31. And, shall we all rise for the flag salute, please? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Alrighty. Going to do a roll call now. Ms. Kessler?
Here.
Mr. Flores?
Fair.
Mr. Harris?
here,
Ms. Reed? Here. Eula Johnson? All present in the council. Item number 4, approval of the agenda. I need a motion to approve the agenda, please.
I motion to approve the agenda as written.
Mr.
Second.
Harris made the motion to approve the agenda as written. I need a second.
Second.
Mr. Flores seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
5 ayes, no noes, no extensions, no one absent. Okay, item number 6. Excuse me, public comment. Looking ahead of myself. Do we have any public comment? Hearing none. Going once, twice. No public comment, okay. Now, item number 6, swear in new board members. Oath of office for new members Sherry Kessler and returning board member Aaron Reed. And Sandy? Sandy.
Wait,
Baby?
no, I am, but to continue with this meeting, I have to,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
I can.
Okay. Okay.
If I can get Aaron and Sherry to stand up and raise your right hand. I, Aaron Reed. Sherry Kessler. Do solemnly swear that I support and defend the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that I will bear truth, faith, and allegiance to the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California, that I take this obligation freely without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion, that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties upon which I am about to enter. And I do further swear that I do not advocate, nor am I a member of any party or organization politically or otherwise that now advocates and overthrows of the government of the United States or the state of California by force or violence or other unlawful means. That within the 5 years immediately preceding the taking of this oath, I have not been a member of any party or organization politically or otherwise that advocate the overthrow of the government of the United States or the state of California by force or violence or other unlawful means. I, Aaron and Sherry, that duly such as this time hold the office of board of directors and will not advocate nor become a member of any party or organization politically or otherwise that advocates the overthrow of the government of the United States or the state of California by force or violence or other unlawful means.
I have signed.
Perfect. Sign your documentations and we're good to go.
Welcome aboard.
Yeah.
Okay. Moving on to item number 7. Policy 4005. For policy 4005, board of directors are to review, read, and share with the community the HPUD operating principles and norms on a quarterly basis. General manager and I have talked about this, and this is quite a lengthy read that she is going to possibly share with another staff member to read aloud for everyone to hear. So have at it, ladies.
For our members of the public, it is posted on the back wall. And the board of directors, this is their operation principles and board norms. And part of that, they're supposed to review or look at on a quarterly basis. So 4005.1 implementation. The Herlong Public Utility District is committed to practice these norms, whereupon we will evaluate, learn, and adjust according to what we learn. Upon the occasion of the occurrence of what appears to be a breach of these norms, we are committed to addressing these receptions first to the individual involved before raising the issue to the board itself. Because we value learning and improvement, we are committed to debriefing each of these at each of our board meetings.
4005.2, communication. All communication will be accurate and brief. Board and staff will attempt to describe our behavior before we engage in it and actively listen when communicated with. Always check your assumptions, revisit and display these norms on a quarterly basis every year. Am I going wrong?
You're doing great.
Wow, good.
We'll go back and forth. Process norms. The board, 4005.3, the board needs to address and resolve policy issues and set priorities. The team is committed to doing this by practicing the building of consequences and orderly implementation. The team is committed to Herlong Public Utilities District's mission and to work as a team. The team needs to monitor and respond to changes in the market and in the environment. Staff needs to make available all information and analyze alternatives so that the board can make reasonable decisions. The board will jointly discuss and identify its interests prior to establishing a position and negotiate with external
Organization.
organizations. All requests from the board for information agenda items will be funneled through the general manager and distributed to all board members.
4005.4, relationship norms. Create an environment that promotes respect and appreciation between the board, staff, consultant, and customers. Fundamental agreement that the focus of the Herlong Public Utility District mission is to accomplish and future vision of the, let me back up. The mission is its accomplishments and future visions that meets the needs of its customers. establish, accept, and support common purpose and vision. The team, which includes the board, staff, consultants, and memberships. Let me keep going.
We're down to 5.5 capacity norms. Continue the process of hiring qualified personnel, expand education for the board, staff, and consultants, expect creative decision-making, maintain competitive advantage by adhering to policies of updating technology and resources, ensure a cooperative and open work environment.
Man,
Any discussion or questions?
So when, is this gonna be read once a quarter? I'm trying to look back at the.
It says quarterly. I think we've taken a moment of silence and let everybody read by themselves. We've
Mhm.
read out loud. We've read from the back wall. So it's just up to the board or the board president's direction on how they prefer it to be done on a quarterly basis.
Okay.
Any other discussion or questions? Okay, we're in agreement with what it's stating here,
Mhm.
is what I take it, okay?
yes,
Okay. All right, moving on. Item number 8. The minutes, review and possible action approving the minutes from December 17th, 2024, regular meeting. Discussion. Hearing no discussion, I need an approval for the minutes.
A motion to approve the minutes without any changes.
Okay, sounds good. We have a motion to approve the minutes from Ms. Reed. I need a second.
I second.
Mr. Lee seconded the motion. All in favor, say aye. The 5 ayes, no noes, no abstentions, and no one absent.
Or it says yes, abstain. And approve the minutes if you weren't here, correct?
Correct.
Then I abstain.
Oh, okay. Good.
Because I
Thank
wasn't
you, John.
here.
We're catching that.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Correction. Good catch, John. We have 1 abstention and 4 ayes. Okey dokey. Now. Financials. Item number 9. Review and file preliminary December 2024 financials and check register. Discussion.
I have a question. One is, does the trailer park pay fire tax
Yes.
per space or as one unit
No. Yeah.
per space?
Not space, but for house or for mobile. Each one of them.
We call them lots for us. So I used to live there, they call spaces, but they're the same thing. I understand. that. That's what I want to know because I didn't see it. And the second one is does Circle, do we charge Circle for fire tax or are they with the base?
No, they pay an annual $12,200.
Okay, it was the same. If I'm not mistaken, the initial contract was $12,000 back in the day.
$12,200.
Okay. My question to you, is it still the same price?
Correct.
We're not increasing for inflation or anything under that, I consider it a contract, right?
So this is the conversation that Director Switzer brought up last year. And if they went by how our Measure A is actually done, they actually only have like 2 parcels, so there would be 164.58 for each parcel. So I'm, as the GM, feel very blessed that they're paying $12,200 for, I mean, granted, that's all their houses and there's a lot of houses on there, but the way the measure is written, and it includes in that measure, if I'm not mistaken, saying that, Circle will pay the $12,000 in it.
Okay, but do we consider inflation?
But they're already paying like 10 times what they. would
More
have to
than,
pay.
than if they pay per parcel?
Yes,
Okay, that's what I need to know. I'm
they,
good.
they would be paying $300 if we paid per parcel, instead
Okay.
of paying $12,200.
Okay. That's the only question I have.
Okay, thank you.
The only other thing that I noticed, just a typographical error on the date,
Oh,
January 28th, it says 2:05. That just needs to be corrected to 2025.
On my memo, sorry.
Yeah, that's okay.
I have another question, if I may, when you're done. What about, we used, when I got here, they called it Title 8. All the lots out there. My understanding is they're only paying one tax on one lot. And the other, I don't know how many there were, but I heard there was about 400 houses there at one time,
150.
Yeah.
150. So why are they only paying for one lot?
Because there's not,
Because there's no housing on it.
Yes.
because it, Measure A reads that it's going to be per parcel,
Uh-huh,
and that's all one parcel. There's no division. Like the spaces in the mobile home park or the lots. There is nothing.
The government sold it as one unit.
As one
Remember
unit.
Felix? You sold it one.
This is a
unit.
conversation this board has had on an annual basis, pretty much. But yeah, until they develop it and make it into separate spaces, it's one unit. Unfortunately, out in the flats, out in front of the plant, that used to be one unit, but because they thought they were gonna develop it, develop it. Thank you. Anyway, 3 tries. They've actually separated those out, so like merged, the people that own out there actually own each parcel instead of one big parcel, so they pay that annual fire tax on every single parcel out there because those were subdivided. This right now is no longer subdivided, so until it's subdivided, it will stay as one lot. But once they start subdividing it, it will change.
and, okay.
So we're just gonna review and file this, there's no motion to either review and accept.
A motion to review and
A motion to
to
review
file
and
the
file.
preliminary
Okay.
December.
Need a motion to review and file the December 2024 financials and check register.
I motion to review and file it and
Ms.
accept it.
Ms. Reed made the motion to accept.
I second.
Mr. Harris seconded it. All in favor?
All right,
I abstain.
1 abstention and 4 ayes. Okay. Item number 10. Fire department updates, calls and updates.
Pretty simple. In December, we had 10 calls. Volunteers responded to 6 out of the 10 calls. Tonight is Medical Tuesday, and there's a training at Janesville, and Dawn's back doing that one. Tonight is cardiology and airways. So I know 2 of our firefighters, or both of our firefighters, are going to that tonight. So they're not here to give you any other information, but that's what's happened in December.
I got a question.
Question.
Are we allowed to, how to say this? To do improvements on the fire department's, fire area? You know, what can we spend our money on? I know we can't build a fire building, but can we buy storage for them to put their hoses and all that kind of stuff, their equipment? Can we do that? Can the fire department do that kind of stuff?
We can build, we just can't get grant for a new house. A new firehouse. We can use our money to build, remodel, adapt. There's a little bit of money that is
Allocated.
well, it's reserved. But the majority, which is only, because it's done on improvements, when people have actually added onto their property, we have less than like $5,000 that has to be for improvements, but the rest of it is allocated for whatever we need for the fire department.
And the reason I'm asking is, thinking of this and then I looked it up. A lot of the smaller communities, they're buying those cargo boxes
Okay.
and making homes out of them,
Container.
containers. Okay, and then you put a Quonset hut on top of it, okay? And then they do the inside and, for storage, a lot of them, because they do a lot of fundraising, like dinners and fundraisers like that. And they're just as good as building. And I look at it as a cost effective. The most important or the most expensive thing is cement. And then putting in utilities. Okay? Your water, sewer and that kind of stuff. But if it's something more cost effective than to try to borrow $150,000 to achieve the same thing, is it worth something to look at?
Well, something I brought to this board a while back was that to take that garage and remodel it into a training center.
Right.
Something
Would be an income.
well, the other thing, it would not be an income, but it would be a training center for our staff. The possibility of an income is if we could get SIMSA
Yeah, that's what I thought.
to use it, which, right now I did not realize until the commander was here last week at the Sierra Alliance meeting that the depot has 2 ambulances.
Yeah.
And this community has very much benefited from our MOU with the base, because we've been using, unfortunately, there's only 3 3 ambulances in Lassen County, and one is always at high desert 24/7. And we go clear from one border to the other, leaving 2 ambulances available for this area is absolutely ridiculous. So we're really blessed to have the depot with having 2 ambulances. I mean, they just had one for a while and I thought they were just using their ambulances for the BOP and the depot. And I found out recently that they're using them for us too. He did say that, he's a little concerned because the same thing that we get, our calls are we have a lot of low income families and they either don't have a vehicle or they don't have a way to the hospital. So unfortunately, we get a lot of calls just to get a ride to the hospital.
Wow.
So, it's like, we had a call today, our sugar diabetes, is out of control. Trip and fall of, I want to say a younger person, but somebody that was my age. And it's like, if I tripped and fall, I wouldn't be calling an ambulance to come get me unless I couldn't get off the ground. But, a lot of this is just because we have either elderly or we have low income people that, for better words, live on the system, and that's the only way they can get a ride to the hospital. So, it's unfortunate because I think a lot of our calls we wouldn't have if we didn't have a low income community, but that's just part of who we are and, we move forward.
So Sierra is actually allowing the ambulance from the depot to transport a civilian to either Susanville or Reno.
Mhm.
Wow.
Wow.
That's what I say. That's
That's
They're-
amazing.
yeah, because it's against the regs.
And Vance said that, he was really upset because until recently, SIMSA wasn't reimbursing them, like their bandages or oxygen, and finally they're starting to get reimbursed for what they're using, because a lot of times they'll either meet SIMSA halfway and transfer from one ambulance to the other ambulance, or the ambulance will be here, the Army Depot's ambulance will be here, and I've already taken care of the individual, and then SIMSA will arrive late, and then they just transfer it so that SIMSA gets it, because as a community, we're paying for SIMSA, we're not paying for Sierra.
But excuse me, I have a question. So are you saying that HPUD is paying?
No.
No, so who's
Right.
paying for, who's footing the bill for that?
For SIMSA or
Yeah. For both,
Sierra?
for both.
So SIMSA comes from the FireNet Lassen,
Mhm.
which we do pay part of our calls. Each time there's a call, we get charged on an annual basis, so we pay in. We've been very blessed that, our calls cost us usually between 4,000 to 9,000 annually.
Mhm.
The district pays out of you guys' fire taxes.
Mhm.
But the county has reimbursed up to 80% of that because they realize it's their problem and they should be paying for it. So, it's
So then you
been
get
a win-win.
So then do you get reimbursed by the county then?
Some,
Just some,
80%.
just
Yeah.
80%.
But the patient also gets charged for the ambulance too.
Right.
Their insurance.
I have
Very
a question about
No,
when
Both.
the ambulance from the depot takes an individual to wherever, does that then limit the depot from coming out to respond to any other medical call?
It could.
That's bad.
They could charge us?
No, they could not come if you need them, and all we have is EMTs, and they have paramedics. That could be kind of
Yeah,
bad.
AMRs.
I don't know, when my wife got sick, they were out every time.
Well, that was back then. We're talking about now
Oh.
with this new ambulance situation.
Oh, okay.
Because if they don't come off the depot and you're having a heart attack and EMTs or MRs respond, that's going to lessen your ability to survive. That's being
So in
real.
other words, are you saying they have like a quota?
No, I'm just saying that once they're out of pocket, they're gone,
Okay.
that whoever responds,
Mhm.
they won't be able to respond off the depot for an ambulance, a medical call.
Right.
If they're out of town and I call them because I have chest pain,
Mhm.
well, I'm gonna have to wait for SIMSA to get here.
Oh, gotcha.
That's the bad part. The golden hour is gone.
Yeah. Mhm.
One of the things that Mr. Vance also said was that, that people will call the ambulance or call the medical call, and then they will deny going in the ambulance.
Right.
They do that. They have that right.
Yeah, well, yeah, they have that right, but again, like you said, if the ambulance from here is already somewhere, then somebody else may not get the service of the ambulances from the depot because they're already somewhere where somebody's saying, no, never mind, I don't want to go.
Then they hurry up and turn around and come back.
Well, but
That's, yeah,
there's that,
rather than being out there an hour away.
right,
But the positive thing for this neighborhood, for Hurley, that you gotta think is now we have 5 ambulances available to us.
Yeah.
Where we only had 3.
Yeah,
So it is a positive.
it is. It is. It's just that once in a lifetime situation where somebody's gonna be without, possibly.
I don't know how many EMTs they have on base, so I don't know if all their EMTs would be in the ambulance. They may have extra EMTs off base with the firefighters, and if that's the case, because they would still be responding if they're available.
That's true. You just be without the higher echelon of care, which is the paramedic. That's all I'm concerned about. It's one of them, come see, come saw us. Yes, John.
The main thing the commander was referring to on that was recently, in the last year, there's been so many calls come out to the house needing medical help. And they needed to go to town and then they refused. And so that was what he was all upset about. He said, it's too much. He said, if it continues, they might have to shut it down for us.
Wow.
I
Yeah.
guess that was the point he was making.
Yeah. He said he didn't want to do that, but yet he can't let it keep multiplying like it has been. So he showed concern at our meeting. And we're just reiterating it to the board. Everybody sort of understands it.
But it would be good to put out also like through FRC and the community person at the school. So that then the average person out here who doesn't have any interaction with the base really knows not to just call to get, because I mean, there was one where somebody I know over there did call because they had broken their toe. And they're like, hey, the county fair is going on right now. We don't want to take the ambulance away from a county fair at 103 degrees for a broken toe. And I luckily was called at the same time, and I drove the person into Reno to the hospital to take care of the broken toe and get him the boot.
To me, that would seem like the dispatcher should be able to determine whether this is an emergent call or an urgent call. And if it's an urgent call for a broken toe, who calls an ambulance for a broken toe? Somebody
the
that needs a
person-
ride.
Yes, the person who is not gonna be driving, yes,
Yeah.
because their toe's broken and they're not allowed.
Shannon, do you think we should let them know through the newsletter?
That'd be
This
good
is
too.
on the table, so everybody is aware that we're at, basically at the breaking point. Do you think that's a wise idea, you guys?
Doesn't Sierra Alliance put out information like that?
They did just open their website,
Oh,
so
okay, yeah.
that might be something, it would be trying to find the
right
proper wording for that, Felix. I think it's a good idea. It's just.
Yeah, I mean, put something together just to make them aware that
Small.
we keep doing this as a community, we're gonna lose this asset to us,
Mhm.
you know? Some
But-
people say, I'll call, and then they come back, no, I don't wanna go.
But that's also why I was thinking of putting it through FRC, so you know, Felix, is that then maybe they can get a grant so that they can finally get that vehicle that they need, so that they can drive people to stuff like that.
A
You know, for like
transport-
the broken,
a
yeah, a
transport.
transport.
Yeah, and they have those in
Yeah,
town.
like VA,
Mhm.
They have them in town. I know I rode
that's a
one.
good idea.
It's very expensive.
How can we do that, Sandy?
Do I?
The newsletter, I'll get with Resource Center and talk to them about it, and then, like Sandy said, you kind of gotta be careful of how we word it. So I'll make myself a note and see what kind of wording we can.
We'll make sure we don't.
So KRC would have to ask for the grant?
Huh?
Is that what you're saying?
FRC would, yes.
Right,
Yeah, they
right,
would have to ask for
It's
that.
delicate.
right,
Well, that's why you
And
have to word it correctly.
and I'm not always telling you that.
What?
I'm questioning whether that's our responsibility though. We're a Huron Public Utility District. This is something that Sierra Alliance would.
Well,
see
no,
to-
it's the fire department and our MOU,
Mhm.
Oh, okay. I
so,
forgot about that MOU.
so. It's just one of those things, but just trying to be, you know, cause I mean, Grover and I talked about this, 5 years ago, cause I was like, it's just been continuous, since I've really been looking at the CAD calls and, well, since we've been, putting them into FEMA and stuff, it's like, I hadn't noticed all of them because we hadn't reported. We just started reporting 5 years ago so we could start getting grants. And, when I started seeing them, I asked Grover, he goes, nobody has cars. He goes, or if they have one, the person's on base working, the other one's at home and hurt themselves. And so now they don't have a vehicle to drive themselves sick someplace.
Mhm.
But like you said, if FRCA was down next to letter there, they had some kind that could help the community our senior, next question would be was like the senior buses and coming out in this area, because I know the buses do come out to take people on base. But whether they would be able to do any kind of transport or,
I tried that already
Lots of bus.
when I was over at FRC, trying to get them to come pick up senior citizens to go in and get, and vets to go in and get, and
Groceries.
they have nothing.
I have a question for you. You guys used to have a little bus that that you had, transporting people, am I correct?
No, those two buses were supposed to be for delivery services for the old manufacturing building.
Okay.
They still sit there, but they're dilapidated. They'd have to have a lot of work to be done with them, and they're owned by the tribe. You'd have to approach them.
Right, okay. If nothing further on that, we'll move on. Mr. Shaw Engineering update. Update on screw press project presented by Owen. How do you say your last name? Wergler? Yeah, I always mispronounce it.
What's your last name?
Workwear.
Oh, okay.
Say workwear with a W, but. Well, happy new year, everyone.
Happy New Year to you, sir.
So over the course of the past month, I've been putting together the contract documents and technical specifications for the project. About halfway through, as going through with Royce, and we realized that there's one circuit on the electrical panel that is missing. So we knew that was a possibility of happening. So we contracted an electrical engineer to put together some drawings. He's currently working on those right now, so it's a little bit of a delay in the schedule, but it was an anticipated cost. We knew it might happen. We accounted for it. That's good, Dave.
Awesome.
You guys have any questions? Happy to answer.
When do you think you can get it on the street?
After talking to our electrical engineer, he said he would need about a month to put together the plans and specs, so. For now. Should be able to.
Thank you for no bad
No further
news.
questions or discussion? None? Okay, Mr. Burglar. I got it right when you said burglar.
That helps.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the only way I'm gonna remember. That was
No
good.
affiliation.
That was very good. Huh. Okay. All right, item number 12, a rate study continued conversation. Review and possible direction to staff to proceed with Prop 218 for rate increases, decreases. Miss Sandy. Oh,
So after our last board meeting, and looking at the sewer with such large increases, I asked Anthony to go back and do one with a 5% increase. He doesn't recommend the 5% decrease or increase and should have what was on there. I still feel like, if we modify our investment policy and, look at this a little more diligently. Brianna and I are working with another software company that we've been putting together like our own little study and having a better graph. I really feel like that personally, could recommend to the board the alternate rate study or the rate. Which basically would start the sewer out at $1 cheaper and then go up to $78 within 5 years instead of 65 going to almost 100. So so what I'm asking today is whether you guys, we received and filed this study in December. If you want to leave it as that, but I feel like part of being a board member and working for this district is doing our due diligence to make sure that we're still here in 10 and 20 years. And with that rate study, the other thing, not like on the water side, is bringing everybody up to the same rate. So that it would basically, right now, Serco, the school district and all them have been paying a debt service. So what they had recommended was changing that debt service from $38 to $42.11, which basically put that into West Patton Village's debt service too, as for their grant they just got, and then changing the facility charge from $20 to $30.98, which I know goes up each year a little bit, and then they had asked for the water, but my question to the board is, hey, do you want to see me put this together and what it would look like? Because doing a Prop 218, we're gonna have to send out flyers, and we're gonna have to give information, we're gonna have to have a hearing. So I would like to be able to put this together on a large board so that everybody could see exactly what we're doing and what kind of letter or postcard. When we did a rate study years ago in 2009, we just sent out postcards to everybody. But this might be a little more in depth with a page going out to everybody so they can see what's going to change and what it's going to add up. So I'm just asking today for whether you want to just leave it filed, or if you want to see what it would look like, to keep the district viable in the future.
Do you need a motion? Or just approval?
Just direction from you
I,
guys.
I think it's a good idea. I approve it. We gotta know where we're gonna stand.
I
You
also
know?
think it would be really nice to, kind of like those up there, if we had something like that in here so that, or even on the wall somewhere out there, so that when customers came in, they could comprehend why it is that it's increasing so that we are sustainable.
So what you're saying is the water and the sewer will increase on top of what we're paying now, the fees
Actually, your water would go down like $11 a month
a month, but then it'll go up again
within
Within-
5 years.
within 5 years.
Yeah.
Oh, okay,
It'll
They get a
gradually
refund.
maybe I won't be here.
And your sewer will go down $1, but it'll go up
Mhm.
within $20 within the next 5 years.
It'd be 95 and still.
No, 78.
Well, maybe. they're-
Oh, anyway,
Well, just get a second shot. Come on.
No,
Anyway.
girl, I've worked for 27 years.
Cost of living
No.
is gonna go up anyway.
I mean, at least put it together, let's see what it looks like. Which is gonna take staff time and materials, but then, you know, at Prop 218, it is, goes to the voters. So therefore, if you have 51% to say no, then even all of our hard work goes out the window and we're stuck with where we're at. But that's why I feel like the alternative, even though the engineer and finance who put together a rate study was like, the wastewater should be this, I really don't feel like it's not fundamentally sound, with that rate.
Are you also gonna put in the inflation rate per year?
Right,
And then whatever else those adds up to that,
well, that's what,
this is what it's gonna be included. Let me put it that, way. It's gonna also be included.
well, that's what that price is, that's
Okay.
what he's already done for us.
Okay.
It sounds like everybody would like for Sandy to move forward. Is that
Yes,
what I'm getting from
yes.
all of y'all?
That way we can see, actually, even our new future board of directors can see what a property is gonna start costing in the future.
Right.
So we know what we're looking at,
Right,
you know, and the people know what they're looking at, you know?
right. Okay. Okay.
Maybe even put like a little footnote that says, hey, this is how much it costs to drill your own well. Have a good day. No?
Yeah, I like that.
Is it true? It's 20 grand now, 25,000?
I don't even know if it's
Dig a well?
that cheap
That's what I
anymore.
heard.
No.
Yeah.
it's not. My son has a well, and it's not that expensive. If I could, I would get a well.
Yeah, no, I mean,
To start drilling.
Mhm.
I heard just to get the truck out there and them digging is 25 grand.
He's in
Yeah, it's like 25
Melbourne.
grand.
He's in Melbourne. Did it, yeah, he's.
How long
but
ago
does
did
he
he
drill
drill
it?
He just put a new one in about 5 years ago.
It's doubled since
Well,
then.
that's because Mr. is gone now.
Right,
Yeah.
but our last call was. Just to go out and, because your pumps are always gonna go out. Someday,
yeah.
ours does, with the sand in the water.
Oh,
And you're out there close to Honey Lake, aren't you? Oh, yeah,
Just on the break,
yeah.
seasonal.
We actually have an underground river.
We go. Okay, moving on. No more questions or concerns or conversation on that one. Number 13. Filling a vacancy of Board of Directors according to policy 4097. At the last board meeting, Director Reed announced her resignation from the board, and her last meeting would be the January board meetings, which is this meeting today. Need action from the board to advertise the open position and bring it back to the Board of Directors, or bring it back to the board to vote on a new director. Otherwise, if the seat is not filled within 60 days, the Board of Supervisors may appoint someone to that vacant position.
So again, direction from the board, so that staff and we can move forward with, placing advertisement in at least 3 places. We're thinking the Mart, the post office, our office, and our website. And then being able to advertise the position. And I've got applications out there. We've had them available. So that way you guys have a choice, like last time when Aaron, when the position was open, we had 3 people that actually wanted to be on this board, and this board interviewed all 3 and made their choice. And that's what you guys could do next February, or the next board meeting, because we would have plenty of time to get that advertised and get that done, because Aaron's letter is dated the 6th, so we need to have somebody seated by March 6th. And our next board meeting is like February 25th, so that would be perfect to fall in line.
Sounds good to me.
Sounds good, sounds good.
I really think it would be cool if we did a vacancy thing and put it at all the doors too, and.
We
like,
put it on our newsletter.
Yeah.
Newsletter this last.
But I mean, I think if it were actually put on a door, like I'll volunteer one of the times that I come back for the weekend. I'll go put it on all the doors so that then they'll be like, what the shit is this? That they put, and then they'll actually
Okay,
read it,
soldier.
right?
Well, I'm grateful that we get the bulletin.
Yes.
Yeah, so whatever's on the bulletin, I read it.
And
so-
I'm grateful to hear that somebody reads it.
Amen.
Yeah, I read it.
Do I
too.
read it?
That's 5 people I know that read it.
Yeah, give yourself some credit now. That's a good number.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's a good idea.
yeah.
I
So-
think that'd be nice. Thank you.
So the board is saying that we'd like to go ahead and do this advertisement for the open position, is what I'm getting from everyone on our board.
Yeah.
Correct?
Yes.
All right,
All right, sounds good.
thank you.
Mhm. Number 14, our organizational meeting policy 5010. The board of directors shall hold an annual organizational meeting at its regular meeting in January of each year to select board officers. The board of directors need to elect the president, vice president, secretary, treasurer, and a clerk to the board. I would like to entertain the idea from the board of tabling this until we have a full 5-member board seated next month, so that we have the new board member involved in appointing or involved in selection of officers. Because Ms. Reed will be leaving, and it's nice that she would have input, but she won't be here to follow through with that. So I'm asking that the board consider tabling this until,
I agree. Get everybody aboard.
and we get everybody aboard. Is everyone in agreement with that?
Yeah,
Yes.
We have all in agreement with tabling until next, yeah. It sounds like we have well, we could call it a motion if we wanna call a motion for it. I need a motion to table this.
I make a motion that we table the elections to February meeting.
second,
And a motion for Mr. Forrest to table this until next until February, and a second from Mr. Harris. All in favor?
Aye.
With 5 ayes, no noes, no abstentions, and no one absent.
The board meeting dates, did you want to vote on that or until next?
Oh, yeah. We're going to be looking at what our board meeting dates are. And see if we are all in agreement with those dates.
I have a question on this. On the policy itself, you still have in there that the second Tuesdays each calendar month at 2 PM in the administrative office. Are we going back to 2 PM?
It's actually been changed. It's just not in the policy.
No,
I'd have to do the date.
right,
It's been changed.
it's, yeah,
Let's see.
no, usually we change it when you guys make that change, and I don't know if I may have grabbed an old policy when I made a copy. Or maybe we didn't change the policy last year when we changed it to the fourth, but
Yeah,
it
it
depends
was-
on,
Yeah,
I mean, these dates are primarily the fourth Tuesday of the month. The reason that there's a few changes is either holidays or, holidays. So that was that, you know, and if it's posted on the website, it'd still be considered a regular board meeting date, so. Yeah, you guys wanna approve those board meeting dates, we can post them on the website, or if you've got something you wanna change. And if I need to, Felix, I'll bring that, policy 5010 back with any changes.
No, it's okay. I just wanted to, but I was gonna make a suggestion too, again. I know we had it at 2 PM and then we said, well, it'd be more advantageous because the community could get involved. Well, it seems like it's not working out. So instead of,
I have a comment on that. There's a lot of people that in here that probably have doctor's appointments around 2 o'clock. So I don't think that would be a good idea. And not only that, I know what you're saying, that right now, a lot of people aren't coming. But you know, the people on the depot, they still have the right to be able to come after they get off work. You know, I mean, right now, we don't have too many, but I think that by word, you know, we get out there and tell them, hey, if you're interested, you need to know, come to the meetings. And at 5:30, I think it would be good. 2 o'clock is not good for me, or, yeah, because I've got doctor's appointments around that time, so I just don't think it would be a good idea to change that from 5:30 to 2 o'clock.
I'll take that off the table. I just got convinced by the community.
Thank you, Felix.
Gotta go to 201.
As much as we'd like to have it and get it over with, I agree. I think that we have to leave it as it is, because the minute you put it out there that it's gonna be 2 o'clock, somebody's gonna say, well, I was at work and I couldn't get there. And see, when we determined that it would be nice and necessary, and we need the date or the time back, might not work. You're gonna always leave yourself open to somebody complaining about, I couldn't get there because I was at work.
In case in point today, had doctor's appointment in Reno, and I barely got back at 5 o'clock to come, so. Point taken.
Yeah,
I'll say it a second time.
You being humble?
Yeah, I'm assuming I am.
So Felix, so if we went with the 2025 board meeting dates, with those dates, meeting at 5:30,
Correct,
what's on the table?
right.
We do need a motion for that.
yep, need a motion to approve the meeting dates so the staff can publish on the website. I'll make a motion to go ahead and approve.
Yeah, second.
Okay. I made the motion, Eula Johnson, to approve the suggested 2025 board meeting dates. Mr. Harris made the second. All in favor?
Aye.
Five ayes, no noes, no abstentions, no one absent. So, we're down to number 15, the general manager's report.
All right. Last Wednesday night, we met with the Sierra Alliance, here in our office. Bruce Ross joined us via Zoom. He's now part of Megan Daly's, office, which I'm really excited about, because when we were going through the SRF progress, Bruce was a big advocate for us with Brian's office, and I could always get something done, and I could always get, them to act on it. And I know, well, as of a couple of years ago, who Megan had in her office, and it was really always hard to get a hold of, and Brian was always trying to coordinate, or Bruce was always trying to coordinate with Megan's gal to get stuff done. And now that Bruce will be there, I think it'll be a little better open communication, and if we need anything, it'll be nice to know that we can have Megan's ear when we need to. So when we talked, Terry DeBose I talked to her from the federal counsel's office. She wasn't able to attend because she was flying home from the inauguration in DC. Mr. Buckholz came, who is the new owner of the post office, him and his partner, business partner. is planning on doing a laundromat in there, and they're really looking forward to kind of moving forward with businesses in that building. I know that our Dan Simon, our old owner, was trying to get that building ready to do that and sold it in between. So Mr. Buckholz is looking forward to hopefully bringing some businesses to our community. So it was nice that they both attended the meeting, and they've already done the electrical to bring in the laundromat, and they've got the water going, so they're pretty.
It's gonna go in the old barber shop space.
Yeah.
So the base is gonna cancel their,
Base is still working on opening theirs, but it's gonna, the base will probably either be by card or some way else. But this one will be open to the community.
I know, work.
And it won't be, so, you know, it won't be 24 hours, but, you know, probably till 8 to 10 at night, and then closed until the next morning. And then he's got already gonna put cameras and everything in there, so that hopefully he doesn't get the same problem that the base had with their laundromat.
Has anybody checked on if you can do that? Or when I work other places for the federal government cannot compete with private industry. So they're gonna say, I'm putting out a plug, but you got a man that's starting a business to do the same thing. So all he has to do is complain, and the base has got to shut down, if I'm not mistaken.
That's the way it was, yes.
I mean, it's federal regulations,
I will say he got
Can't
it,
be competed, you can't have the competition.
right?
And they haven't been open for how long now? Already.
and that he got a permit from the county to
I
do
understand.
this.
I'm talking more about the base. When he complains, okay? And I've seen it, when I was working for the Navy Department, they go all to Congress and say, hey, I got this business and the base is competing with me off base.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And they're off base. Then you should have a building, it's still their building, but it's off base, or depot, we call it our bases.
Right.
So somebody ought to, just, bring it out to the open if it's gonna be a problem with,
Well, Vance was here from SIAD, and he didn't say anything one way or
Okay.
the other.
Right,
And Jason will have 8 wash machines and 4 large dryers. So I don't know,
So, excuse me, who's this that's going to open that?
Jason Alvarez,
the man that.
it's the guy with the Zoom machines,
Huh?
the man with the Zoom machines.
Oh,
Well, he's a business partner of Mr. Buckholz. So,
He's a fabricator, it makes sense.
is he the
Jordan,
part
too.
of I met, Logan and Owen that were refurbishing the, what is it, Burning Man's bikes? So, okay, so,
But he doesn't own the bikes, he
no,
just,
but he's out of Reno,
he
correct?
just warehouses them.
Oh, right, yeah, he's out of Reno, correct?
That's LA, Los Angeles.
so in SIAD, Vance let us know that SIAD was investing $100 million on rail and improvements on the depot. Oh, boy, I got that. Spell check. In the next 5 years to include a 7-lane entrance to the base, 0 lanes. So it's gonna be a 7-lane entrance like any other base. Most bases are where you can get in and off, and it sounds like it's gonna be more over there.
Between Plumas and the old gate, it sounded like.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So they're
Instead
gonna-
of 7
they won't be
lanes,
using-
that's how
they
we
won't
make
be
that turn.
using the
They want
base
everybody in the
gate down
depot to
here.
come out one entrance and go in one entrance, one exit, one entrance. So Chewing Gum Road, somehow we're gonna do it around where it comes through the gate, everything's gonna come through the gate.
But I hope they're all polite. Seven cars in a row and all of a sudden they're going to one lane. That's gonna be interesting.
No, there's 7 lanes and they go different directions.
The only way you can go different directions is when you hit 825.
So,
The people that go to Reno go there.
yeah, but when you hit the gate, it's gonna have separate places to go, like 201 or Chewing Gum Road or something. There's gonna have lanes supposedly that's designated, the trucks go here.
Oh.
and this stuff. It's a separation point of your destination out in the depot.
So is it there by pass an ID and, is that where it's gonna be?
He said he wasn't sure yet.
Oh.
7
They're
lanes.
still working.
Oh,
That's what he was
that's
saying.
gonna take a while.
I can't figure it out. It all comes
Three
in
more years.
Yeah.
for probably 500,000 feet before you can go left or go straight.
And they're supposed to be revising the whole entire structure
Um,
That's gonna be it.
and new signage as well,
What is that?
is what he was specifying.
Yeah.
So Sierra Alliance now has a bank account and a website, so sierraalliance.org. So that will be published and up and hopefully have information on our area and what's going on with meetings. For the board members, everybody here, needs to take ethics and sexual harassment. And we can either sign those up through CSDA and you can watch them at your own leisure within a 30-day period of time. Or we can try to do an afternoon where we could set them up where you could come in here and watch them. So you just need to let us know so we can get those classes taken care of. Y'all have a form 700, it's due by April 1st. FDRMA Safety Days is March 26th. And there's a governancy class, so maybe the new person or Sherry, if they'd want to go to the governancy class, and it's free at the safety days. As soon as anybody would like to go and need to know, so we can make hotel reservations for you. And then the grant information that was brought up to us to help the community. I did talk to USDA and found out basically we would be the loaner of it. The business would need to apply to HPUD and we could receive up to $1 million with 1% interest over 30 years. And then we could get possibly 30% for filing all the paperwork and being the loanee. They're supposed to call me back so we can apply by March 31st, their deadline. I'm not sure. I would like to get the paperwork in and see if we get qualified, and then it would be up to the board to see whether we really want to do that or not, because we would be responsible for the money that we're loaned, but we would be for small businesses. And as a board, we would be vetting these entrepreneurs, for better words, at a 1% interest, or I'm not sure how that is for us. We would owe 1%, but we could possibly charge 2% or up to 30% on it. But it would free up, like if the deli wanted it, or the grocery store, or the mart, or if we wanted to put another restaurant in or whatever, but it would be a way for a local entrepreneur to be able to come in and have money at a reasonable rate. The downside of all of that is it's sounding like to me that we would be responsible for it. And if you do 1%, honestly, of $1 million annually is $30,000, which really isn't that bad of a responsibility. The $1 million on a whole is a large responsibility for us. But, you know, again, you'd be looking at business plans and making sure that they are financially sound, or that we could put a lien against something that they own so that we could get reimbursed for it.
So if they default on a loan, does that mean that HPUD then has to eat the default?
That's what I'm worried about right now. I haven't gotten through all of the paperwork with them. But that's what it sounded like with my conference with them, was that we would be the loanee. So we're 100% responsible for it.
Yeah.
That's why I'm saying, you know, business plan, a financial plan, find out whether we can, you know, lean on something they have, you know, whether it even be their car or something that would give us some kind of motivation that they would pay their debt to the district.
But can we do that? Cause it's not really, it's the people's money. The board, I don't think the board has the right to say,
This would
we're gonna be in a,
This is the USDA loan would be loaning
No,
us.
I'm talking about they foreclose, they walk away from their business, then we, the people, the community is responsible to pay that monthly payment. Or whatever part of it that he uses. And the 1%, am I correct?
Correct, but this is something the USDA has put together for special districts and cities to do. So they've obviously worked through the legalities of that. I have not ran it across to our attorney as of yet because I don't have the documentation to say, hey, can you review this for us? That's what I'm saying. I'm trying to push forward to get the information. Hey, we may not even get the chance, but if we got the chance, I think it'd be worth the board looking at, our attorney looking at, and seeing if we could help the community. Because I can tell you right now that this community trying to get loans, you're talking, 8 to 15%. And if you're using a credit card, you're talking 28 to 30%. So it could really help, our rural
Yeah.
area grow. And that's something that, I even was wondering if Sierra Alliance could put on something like that, but as a nonprofit. Because they are trying to support the mission and help grow this area. And I mean, we are too, as being the water and sewer, but until I see all the paperwork and get any response back, I won't know that, but it was one of those rabbit holes that a community member suggested, and I thought it was worth it because I thought we could get 1%, which is 1% interest, and that's what they told me from UC Davis was it's 1%. Even though I want to say there was something on tribal that tribal could do too.
I'd have to check with the tribe directly. I know through our corporation, we wouldn't. But the tribe may be able to do something. It's just their willingness to come out here and be invested. And that's what we would need to present to them ultimately.
Yeah. So hopefully I'll just keep you up to date on how that goes and have more information for you in the next couple of months. The Greenway, I was really excited. In December, Mitch had talked to me from Puma Sierra Electric, and he's the one who actually puts the schedule for all the guys that work out here. And he knows in between projects that he's gonna have a couple of down days, so he's gonna try to schedule it so that in February or March, but his staff can come and actually drill the holes and put in our fence for us, and actually plan on completing the fence for us. So that way this summer we can finish, or this spring, we can rehab the water lines out there and start planting our vegetation that we want there. I got stopped several years back, well, I guess about 5 years ago, when we started putting in a fence post by the county, because the county said, hey, don't put your fence in until we get the walkway. Well, we got the walkway last year, about the time we finished up with the other project. And we haven't had any help. And I'd hoped I'd participate in the prison, and locally the prison had said yes, they would help us, but they could never get any authorization from higher up to let the prisoners out because they've been shorthanded. So extremely excited that we'll have some extra help to get that done and get that finished. And then I just attached some ideas for benches for you guys to look at and see whether we wanted a plastic bench or a wooden bench. We wanted to have a plaque on the benches, or one that was engraved in the benches. Brought up the Sierra Alliance meeting that somebody had mentioned of possibly planting trees and having people put names on trees. I will tell you that one of the things that one of the community members mentioned was a fruit tree, and I can tell you, we have no budget to take care of that greenway. And I do not want to take care of or have staff out there trying to take care of fruit trees. So I would appreciate it if we decided to do a tree that we had maybe specific trees or types, or stick with what we plan to order from the nursery, and let somebody, if they want to put you know, pay for that tree, put a plaque on it, then they'd be more than welcome to, but that's my personal feeling. If you guys want fruit trees out there, then
No.
it's your walkway.
Squirrel, you have more squirrels running than you can imagine. I got an apricot tree. They nail me every year. I'm trying to figure out how to do it like a ship. You put it around the chain that big around so they do it. Cause it come up perfect now. It's time to pick and go.
Eat 'em all.
Yep.
Bite one bite.
Yeah, well,
I have a question.
fall off the tree.
In Susanville, if I'm not mistaken, Diane and I did this. You know that, my big Christmas tree that I have? If I'm not mistaken, they have some department where they give us away seedlings, I think it was called.
Yeah.
You know, people would do that and then, we could start them out at the agricultural school where the kids do that until we're ready to plant, but right now, start them with seedlings and take care of them. And then when we're ready to plant, we could save a lot of money and find out the right, excuse me. To me, the first thing we'd want was big shade trees, you know, that type of stuff, and maybe some Christmas trees and stuff like that, but if we look into that, maybe we can get quite a few, but for free.
So originally, Mr. Williams had Melissa and everything do a desert scape. So we have a list of plants that were originally was gonna be out there. So that are lower maintenance and easier to take care of. But seedlings, you're gonna be once a year, because I think the county has a thing that you get them once a year and they're about this big. It may not work out to our time period. The other thing that Sherry had brought up at the Sierra Alliance meeting was if you're, Arbor Day.
So the Arbor Society, interestingly enough, if you join as a member, I forget what the annual fee is, they'll give you 7 free trees that are designated to your local area.
That's cool.
Yeah, and there's a lot of ways that you can get away with doing like a group membership, and they'll give you 7 times those memberships. So, I mean, there's options.
And Sandy, the Greenway is here on Susanville Road.
Right, where the walkway is,
Yeah, where the new
from
one.
the fire department to Frontier.
Yeah, and there's water that, because I noticed the
We already
spigots
had-
or whatever. coming up.
Unfortunately, 10 years ago or so,
Mhm.
we actually put in the water and had it all
I
plumbed.
remember. Uh-huh.
But we've had too many vehicles that have turned around and done donuts in that area.
Yeah. Mhm.
And so we no longer, it's all gonna have to be rehabbed again. But
Wow.
we were waiting until we got that fence up to rehab it,
So you're talking about the fence that's gonna be
right next to the walkway.
by the walkway
Yeah.
on this side of the walkway or next to the road? Oh, okay.
Well, it's on the other side,
So it's on the other side of the road, the walkway.
walkway, the walkway's out
Yeah.
front, and then
Yeah,
basically keeping people out of the plants and the
right,
trees.
right. Oh, that's good. Yeah.
But the board originally was making a memorial walkway. I didn't know, would be nice to have a couple benches out there, so a lot of whether we wanted a wooden bench or a plastic bench, and whether you wanted engraving in the bench, or whether, the nice thing about a plaque is you could always add plaques or change it. I think, and I was looking at it, about, a nice big 6-foot bench, and you could actually add plaques as people wanted to, add names to it or whatever. But just things to think about, so that the board can vote on in the future, and once we get that fence up, we can order some benches, and
Are you gonna keep the 2 old ones?
I would like to rehab them.
Yeah, I remember sitting on
They're in
those
bad shape.
years ago.
Yeah, but they're rock. Rock and masonry band.
The boards are
It's the
bad,
older
yeah.
stuff, rock.
But I mean, the main structure of it is just rock.
Yeah,
And then they got the areas that put
yeah.
2x4s if you want to.
Sandy, does the water fountain still work or no?
Not that I'm aware of.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I remember walking through there in my high school days, man.
Oh. Santa Cruz.
Yeah.
Done memory.
Yeah.
So.
You wanna vote on the benches now, or is that just a thought?
I
Coming,
just gave you guys the information.
Okay.
If you guys are more interested in wooden or plastic, if you wanna let that and staff and I can look at one or the other. Other than that, I'd say until we get the fence up, there's,
Right.
no reason, but the fences that I found, we're looking at, what do I wanna say, between $400 and $800 a bench without the, plaques, and the plaques are gonna run you probably anywhere between $100 and $300 for the plaques. We've got money that was actually grant money for that park area, and we spent half of it, and the rest of it is, we spent half of it on the water system and buying all the fencing materials. So just, like I said, we don't have money for Parks and Rec, we don't have any way to fund that fund. So it'd be nice to keep a little bit in there for repairs, and then in the future, start looking for grant monies for parks so that we can keep it going and take care of it as possible.
Sandy, the fencing, is it gonna be a chain link?
No, it's gonna be the fences out there.
It's already
Oh.
out there.
Oh, okay.
That little bitty short fence, when
Yeah.
you leave,
Oh.
look over.
Sandy, what about local artisans to make benches for us? Would that be cost effective? I mean,
Yeah, somebody.
no, I'm a visitor here, remember?
Well, the South County 4-H has woodworking. Maybe they would be willing to donate a made bench by the South County 4-H.
As I know the Latham High School did quite a bit too.
Yeah, Adam,
Adam Bike.
Bike. They do a lot in his class because he does the wood shop.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I could probably even talk to Adam about seeing if they can donate, a
Well, even if
bench.
we would do the materials for them.
Right,
You
right.
know,
Yeah.
we paid for the materials and they put it together.
Right.
Or not necessarily pay for the materials, but there are options there to do recaptured wood, because we do it all the time. Over where I'm at. Stefan recaptures a lot of stuff, and he actually makes very beautiful Indian pieces as well. So
Sign Stefan up.
I have to ask him.
Because if we do it that way, we can add more benches instead of having, because I mean, I'm looking at, just for one bench, that's a lot of dough. So you only can buy maybe one or two. If we get them made and they're cost effective, then we could spread them around through the whole trail. That's what I'm looking at.
Well, I was thinking we have 2 benches there, if we could rehab those 2 and buy
Yeah.
2 more.
Mhm.
Then, you'd have 4 decent benches. 2 for historical and 2 for memories, would be really nice, but that's just my thoughts. You guys can decide what you would like.
I have a question about liability. What if someone gets hurt sitting on one of those benches, falls and busts their head against one of those benches? Are we liable?
Could be, you have insurance for that.
Okay,
Is there a possibility of putting signage of at your own risk?
yeah,
That's what first thing came to mind.
That's good.
yeah.
This is an option.
And then are we gonna put in cement so they don't leave?
Yeah.
I already thought, first thing could be very nice, but if we don't secure them down, they'll be gone.
Put it in my backyard.
Well, the other thing is too, you can do those like my Mirror Motel with those 3-foot spikes that go into the ground. And you would want something anyways around here with our lovely little wind, so.
I have a question.
Yes, John.
And thought of, instead of putting plaques on the bench themselves, how about maybe an 8x8 post and fill
Like a
it
sign.
and make like a sign, put a cover over it, and then there would be underneath that, out of the weather somewhat, if you're out of the sun, direct sun, and out of the worst part of the rain and stuff, as we could build it, and you could add as you go along.
Wait, you mean
Just
like
a thought.
a roof for somebody to lay on the bench
No,
and not get rained on?
no,
Is that what
it's like a sign.
Like sign.
It's like building a sign, with a little cover over it, to help protect it. Keep the post there, and you put your plaques on there for Mr. Williams and all the people that's been on the board that's passed away and stuff, recognition. or for them?
Well, most of these, I will say, the plaques that, we have at the golf course too in Susanville for members that have passed, the people and families have honored. They're made pretty much of the same materials that your tombstones are made from now. So, you know, other than, a little baby oil and a few things to keep them, shined up, they last for our lifetime. They're not gonna disappear. They're not gonna.
Well, that's for my lifetime.
So, but anyway, I just throwing ideas out there for you guys to think of, and once we get that fence up, I'd like to move forward and get the greenway accomplished this year. So that's all I have. I think it's up to director's comments and.
Any, okay, the only other thing that I noticed, at the end of the page here, it says next board meeting is 2/28/25.
25,
Yeah, the 20,
it's the 25th,
yeah.
a typo.
28, okay, there you have the typo, the 28th is a Friday.
Yeah.
And that should be 2/25, 2/25, 2/25/25. It's the
25th.
Yes,
25th, yeah. Just to make the
Yeah.
correction on that page. Yeah. And if there's no further discussion there, we're looking at director's comments.
I don't have anything.
I have one, and that is that I would like to thank you for serving with us, Aaron. Very much. I've gotten to know you and really, I'm going to miss you being here. So not just board purposes, but you've done some wonderful things for my community, including my grandson. And I want to thank you for that. Very much. Gonna miss you.
Well, I was gonna say thank you for the three of you that voted for me to be on this board. It was quite an experience. I think emotionally it was deeper than basic training. Right? I mean, a drill sergeant yelling at me means nothing now. Well, guess what? A whole community yelling at me means something now. I mean, it means something, but it doesn't have like that impact of destroying me. Thank you. Thank
Can
you
you
very
read
much.
it and show us?
No. It says, thank you for serving on the board for Herlong Public Utility District.
Aw.
Yeah. I will put it up at work. I love it. Thank you. I was gonna say something else as a director. My last thing to say is, could you guys discuss in one of the other meetings about doing different types of audits, like we had brought up January of 2024.
so we can add that to our fee for 2025, because our audit goes through 2024. But, for the, and actually, Brianna and I were talking about that, because I just actually got another file. I said to keep that because it shows when the last time we went out for an RFP. And that way we can go out for an RFP this summer for 2025's audit.
And we do the audit when? May? Can't remember.
No, I usually try to get them in here before April if possible. Last year they did do it May,
That's what I saw.
but I haven't
So-
heard back from the auditors when they will be here this year. But usually it's before May, because they have to present it to the board in June and July.
What, are you gonna discuss it with the board about, maybe going to a different county firm? I'll call it a county firm.
Well, that's what I'm saying, the contract's through 2024.
Oh, so we gotta do it in 2026.
We'll put out this year
Uh-huh,
for our auditing year of 2025.
okay,
Which is this year.
Right.
So last year's gone. We
Okay.
already have that contract. So we'll put out an RFP this summer for auditors for 2025.
okay.
One thing that I
Yes, sir.
at the Sierra Lance meeting, we were fortunate to have the two owners of the people that want to bring in the 737s and the 747s for the refurbishing
Wow,
and what?
wow.
Wow.
We've been waiting for it.
Okay, we had them there. They were actually here the week before. And Tom Hammond and Vance on the they went out to the airport and, check the surfaces and stuff to see if it was good enough for them to use. Which they said, yes, they want to add some stuff to it. And, Vance and the colonels, at this point, they can't, it's above them to say it, but they give their nod in agreement that they could maybe go forward. So that was,
That'll
that
change
was
us.
great news.
That will
It's
change
nothing
us.
official, okay, but at least they actually physically came here, they actually physically went out, looked it all over with Vance. Okay, and so it looks favorable. But you know how fast the government moves, so,
Did they, let them land their plane on the one right?
no,
No?
not to my knowledge. They refused it. last
Yeah,
time.
last time.
Okay, but I don't know how they got here this year, and Tom didn't say, but I assume they flew into Reno and drove
yeah.
out.
Are we gonna go through our representative? What's it, yeah, is he supporting it really heavy?
Yes. Yeah, he was here, couple of months ago, Lamapa. And he was in support of it.
Good.
And he was all in support of that guy that wants to put that carburation on the diesels too, or with.
Turbochargers.
Yeah, he was really into that. Lamapa, his office, the next few days afterwards, they were back and forth. They had a lot of conversation.
That's gonna be a good one too.
The guy
Good
was
paying
not-
jobs.
The guy wasn't here this last meeting, but he was here at the meeting before.
Right, but I want to say one of his partners was here, that always comes every.
But he didn't say anything.
No, he didn't.
Did they say anything about the gym open to the 100% disabled vets? Is that open for us now?
Not yet, but they're working on it.
Boy, it's the slowest thing.
They did bring it up.
They've run
They're
into
like-
complications and they're trying to fix it.
But she said they're a lot closer than they have
Yeah.
been in the past, that
Yeah.
it's not just lip service is what she.
Well, I said, I know, I worked for the government for 30 years. I know what it's all about,
But she,
but I'm just ready to start working out. This winter stuff, I gotta get moving.
yeah, but she did say it was coming shortly.
Okay, cool.
So how long shortly is after 30 years working for the.
That's true.
That's the end of the year of 2027.
I figure about when I'm 85.
Ooh,
Well, if there's nothing further for the director's update.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Boy, that was quick.
Mr. Felix made the motion to adjourn.
Second.
Need a second.
second.
Mr. Harris made a second for adjournment. All in favor?
Aye.
5 ayes, no absence. We're out of here.
Board Sherry.
And time is.
What's that?
Welcome aboard.
6. Yeah, I can see that, 6:57, yeah.
Been a pleasure, kid.
Yeah.
Thanks for. Never.
When do we need to have these back here?
Huh?
When do we need to have these back here?
Kathy, I think as soon as possible, because I feel mine is already turned in just now.
What's so hard about, I mean, put your name and, can you give me yours?
Okay.
You don't mind? Okay.
You can keep the same phone number, right?
Total. No.
So I'm down with it.
You?
Your call by-
He started.
Oh, really?
Through the whole town.
Is that what the fire department?
It's not.
Later.
Okay, thank you.
The whole parade under them was.
I'm not thinking about the tax.
There was a whole-